It's been a minute since anyone's joined us, so good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Dissertation Writers Retreat, Creating Your Scholarly Presence. My name is Bess Robinson, and I'm a librarian here at the University Libraries. I'm so pleased to introduce my colleague, Dr. Kenneth Haggerty, who will be talking about strategies for sharing her research within and beyond the academic community. But first, a little light housekeeping. Just wanted to let y'all know that the session is being recorded, and we'll send it out and presentation materials in a few days. You have been muted right now, but if you would like to ask a question out loud after the presentation, I can see your raised hands. Make good use of the chat feature. You can also ask questions in chat, and I will let Kenneth know at the end of the workshop what y'all have asked. And then at the end, we would love to have your feedback. So we'll be giving you a couple of options for letting us know what you thought about this. Any questions? Okay, let's begin. Kenneth Haggerty is the Associate Dean for Innovation and Scholarly Engagement here at the University Libraries at the University of Memphis. He provides leadership and direction for the management and supervision of several organization-wide functions and activities, included but not limited to the University Library's Institutional Repository, the Open Data Archive, Open Access Journal Development and Publication, the core collection of open educational resources, and the Digital Commons, including its public display. Kenneth is also responsible for the development and implementation of the University Library's strategic plan, our outreach program, the University Library's website, and other supporting platforms. He has a PhD in Information Sciences and Learning Technologies from the University of Missouri and an MLIS from the University of Alabama. Welcome, Kenny.
Thanks, Bess. Hope you all are doing well on this Wednesday evening. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about the landscape of scholarly communication and establishing a strong personal brand. And this is crucial for enhancing visibility, credibility, and impact within the research community. So today we're going to explore how you can leverage various platforms to build and maintain a robust academic presence. I'm going to begin by discussing the importance of creating and maintaining an ORCID. This is a unique identifier that ensures that your work is correctly attributed to you. Next, we'll delve into setting up and optimizing your Google Scholar profile, which can significantly boost your research's findability and citation metrics. Following that, we'll explore ResearchGate and academia.edu, two popular platforms that facilitate networking with fellow researchers, help share your research publications, and also assist in engaging with the broader academic community. I also mention the power of LinkedIn, which can be used to network with peers and connect with potential collaborators and employers. And I'll also encourage you to join and actively participate in professional societies to gain access to exclusive resources. Will allow you to present at conferences and network with experts in your discipline. When attending conferences, you can utilize platforms such as X, or formerly Twitter, Instagram, to promote your presentations. And so even though personally I don't always love social media, these can be used at conferences. So let's take a look at how you can use these tools to build a robust and influential scholarly brand. Okay, so let's begin with ORCID, and this stands for Open Researcher and Contributor ID. ORCID is a global and nonprofit organization. So when creating an account, you'll be creating basically what is an ID number. You can think of this as a digital identifier that distinguishes you from other researchers, even those with similar names. By creating an ORCID, you'll be ensured that your research outputs, such as your publications and data sets, are reliably linked to you, thus reducing the risk of misattribution. ORCID is widely adopted by publishers, funders, and institutions worldwide, making it a valuable tool for international collaboration and recognition. ORCID facilitates collaboration by making it easier for other researchers to find you and to connect with you based on your research interests and contributions. ORCID also allows you to create and manage a comprehensive profile that includes your publications, your grants, your affiliations, and other professional activities. By using your ORCID, you can save time on repetitive data entry. Many research and funding platform systems now integrate with ORCID, allowing you to enter information once and reuse it across multiple platforms. So in summary, ORCID is a powerful resource that helps you manage your scholarly identity, ensuring that your contributions are accurately and consistently recognized. Okay, so to register for an ORCID account, you can visit the ORCID website at orcid.org, pretty easy to remember. You can click on sign in or register, and then on the registration page, which is the page shown here, you can create an account. Once you create an account, you should be able to sign in all the following times through the University of Memphis SSO. And so whenever I sign in, for example, I just click on the sign in through your institution, and then you'll take you to the University of Memphis sign-in, similar if you're signing into our databases. And you should be able to sign in after that going through SSO. For the first time, you'll need to fill out the registration form. So you'll just enter your name, you'll use your university email address, and then you'll create a secure password. You can also check if your name is already in the system. So for example, when I had a ORCID account when I was at the University of Missouri, and then it got connected with the University of Memphis. And so the ORCID, once again, is something that can tie your different institutions together. Also, once you've signed in, you can set your preferences. You can choose your notification and visibility settings. And then when creating an account, you'll agree to the terms of use. Once you verify your email, you can complete your profile by adding your publications, education history, work history, and more. So just to give you an example of what an ORCID account looks like, this is my profile here over on the left-hand corner here. That's my digital identifier number. And when you create an account, you'll get one of those. I mentioned the email addresses. So that's my old Missouri email, which is also tied to my new, or not new anymore, but when I joined University of Memphis, my Memphis email, as well as my email domain. So it's a pretty easy to use interface. You can also add in a personal website page. So this link goes to my University of Memphis faculty profile page. So you can always add that website as well. You can also add employment details, and you can change the permissions of who can view your profile and who can view what. Also on your ORCID, you can add keywords that come up in your profile searches and add your education history. So you can add all levels. So I have my bachelor's, my master's, and my PhD here that I've added. And then finally, you can add professional activities, you can add funding, and perhaps most importantly, you can add your research, such as your journal articles, book chapters, and conference presentation proceedings. So this is an overview of what the ORCID page will look like. Okay, moving on to Google Scholar. Many of you probably have a Google account. And so what Google Scholar is a freely accessible web search engine that indexes the full text or metadata of scholarly literature across an array of publishing formats and disciplines. It is not just metrics for articles, but it's for books, conferences, patents from all types of sources. Google Scholar is very easy to use, and it can help you track who is citing your work. By creating a profile, you can display and edit your areas of interest, your scholarly publications, and by having an accurate profile, you can increase your visibility and enhance your credibility and connect with other researchers. Thus, Google Scholar can be used as a networking tool. So as I mentioned, you probably have a Google account. So once you're logged into Google, you can just go to scholar.google.com and you should be able to create or view your profile. This is a look at my Google Scholar profile. The first step is to create your own profile, and then you can begin adding publications by clicking on the plus symbol, which is right by the title there. You can then select Add Articles, which generates a list of potential publications that you can add, or you can just choose to add articles manually. You can also choose to automatically update the list of articles in your profile. So, for example, I didn't actually go through and manually add all these articles. They were automatically added. And so it's a very automated process if you choose to do that. However, you want to continually check to make sure that the list of articles in Google Scholar is accurate, and then also regularly check your citation metrics to see how many people are citing your research. And you can also add co-authors to your profile as well. Google Scholar has about 389 million records, so it's probably the most comprehensive platform. However, in my experience, it can be inaccurate. I've heard from people, usually people with very common names, that they often see publications that they did not write show up on their Google Scholar account. And so that's why it's very important to keep up with your publications list to make sure that it's accurate. So many of these platforms, including Google Scholar, provide citation metrics. Just to summarize, citations are the total number of times a researcher's work has been cited by other works. It indicates the impact and influence of a researcher's publication within the academic community. Some other citation metrics that are often used, the H index is a measure of both the productivity and the citation impact of a researcher's publication. It balances quantity and quality. And then the I-10 index, that kind of sounds like a highway, is the number of publications with at least 10 citations. Another citation metrics is the ResearchGate Research Interest Score. And so that's a composite score that reflects the impact of a researcher's works based on reads, recommendations, and citations on ResearchGate. And to get this, you need a ResearchGate account, which is what I will be covering next. ResearchGate is a platform for scientists and research that aims to help users discover scientific knowledge and stay connected to the world of science. Being a member of ResearchGate can help you access a vast repository of scientific publications and research articles. In many cases, you can often request articles that your institution may not have access to. You can request these through ResearchGate. Often that involves directly contacting the author for that article. And there are many authors on this platform, over 25 million. So similar to Google Scholar, having a ResearchGate account allows you to track your research impact through metrics and analytics. It allows you to share your research, and it also allows you to receive feedback on your research and presentations. So creating a ResearchGate account to create a profile, you can click sign up. It is free. And so when you sign up, it'll take you to this page where you can select whether you are an academic or student, whether you are a corporate or government employee, whether you're a medical researcher, or whether you're not a researcher at all. And so that could include journalists, other scientists, or just someone who's interested in reading and discovering research. You'll then be asked to select your institution and department, and then add your email address. Always remember to use your affiliation email address, or your memphis.edu. Then there's a verification step that you can use to complete your profile and add details such as your research interest, publications, and research background. After you set up your initial account, you can re-access your account by logging in with your email and password. You can edit your profile picture, your degree, current activity, and add a personal website by clicking on the picture image symbol over on the top right-hand corner. And then to upload new research papers, articles, and other publications, you can just click on that Add New button in the top right-hand corner. You can also link your work to other databases as well. I would recommend regularly updating your research interests, current projects, institutional affiliations, and then you can also use ResearchGate to engage with the research community by following other researchers, joining relevant discussions, and participating in Q&As to stay active and visible in the community. Very similar to ResearchGate, and one that I wasn't quite as familiar with was a platform called academia.edu. And this also allows researchers to collect or connect and collaborate with peers. And this also allows you to upload and share publications, create and update your academic profile, and track and reach and impact the impact of your research through various metrics. Academia.edu is a platform that really supports the open science movement by facilitating instant distribution of research and peer review alongside distribution. Similar to ResearchGate, by getting an account, you can read a wide range of academic articles for free and get notified when your own work is cited or mentioned by others. Okay, and so this is what an academia.edu interface looks like. This is my account, and a big emphasis in academia.edu is on uploading papers. You can certainly, like other platforms, edit your profile, create posts, send messages, and make connections. But the focus of academia.edu is being able to access and download research. And so in terms of downloading papers, one thing that you might, a question that may come to mind is copyright. And that is certainly something to consider. If you've published an article, there's a chance that you have transferred the copyright of your paper to a publisher. And so you may not have the right to upload the full text, the completed text of your work to academia.edu without permission. So it is important to check on the terms of your publication agreement for your journal articles. But many publishers allow authors to upload certain versions of their papers, such as preprints, which is the version before peer review, or postprints, the version after peer review, but before final formatting by the publisher. I've heard figures as high as 90% of journals permit uploading either preprints or postprints of versions to a site such as academia.edu. Also, if your work is published under a Creative Commons license, you can retain certain rights that allow you to share your work more freely. And the specific rights of sharing depend on the type of Creative Commons license you used. Also, uploading your work to an institutional repository might be a safer option if the publication agreement restricts sharing on commercial platforms like academia.edu. And so the University of Memphis has our own institutional repository called the University of Memphis Digital Commons that can provide a home for publications in which we can just link to the publisher's website, those works on the web, where copyright's not going to be as risky because we're just simply linking to the publisher's website. And so if you're interested in the University of Memphis Digital Commons, once again, that is the University of Memphis Institutional Repository, feel free to contact me. When it comes to copyright, it's always better to play it safe. So if you're unsure about your rights, it's always a good idea to contact the publisher of the journal article and directly clarify whether you can put your work on a site such as academia.edu. But in terms of the open access movement, it's certainly a valuable tool to get your work read and cited. And as stated at the top there, papers uploaded to academia.edu get 69% more citations, which was a number that I was kind of surprised by. All right. So those platforms are more about uploading your scholarly works, but a platform that I would recommend joining, which is a little less about promoting your research, but more about making connections, is LinkedIn. I would say that it's somewhere between ORCID and Facebook, but it is a platform that can help you discover opportunities and help you keep up with trends. I've used it to make connections from conferences, and I've also used it to showcase milestones in my career and post my achievements. So overall, it's a good way to reach people. Also, part of the same corporation, and that I'm going to let you know about, is LinkedIn Learning. And so as a student of the University of Memphis, you actually have access to the LinkedIn Learning website. And this has thousands of video courses that can be helpful, not just for graduate students, but for faculty as well. So for example, if you wanted to expand your knowledge on software development, or on, let's say, programming languages such as Python, LinkedIn Learning could be an option for you, and those are free and accessible to you as students at the University of Memphis. So I think if you just Google LinkedIn Learning University of Memphis, there's an informational page on that. And I've certainly gone through some of the course and have often thought, if I want to go through and take a Python course, that could be something that could help me in the future in terms of website development. So creating an account on LinkedIn is pretty easy. You can just go to linkedin.com, and after that you can just go through, add your experience, your education. You can add an about statement. If you have a faculty portrait or graduate student portrait, you can add that there, and then you can begin making connections. So this is my completed account here. I will warn you that I've noticed lately a lot of sponsored accounts reaching out to me, so you definitely want to try to filter those out. People may be trying to sell me educational software. But overall, I feel like LinkedIn is a good way to keep up with people, especially those that you have met at conferences. And then also I wanted to mention, you probably noticed on my LinkedIn page, the University of Memphis banner, which kind of brings me to my next point, which is don't shy away from using University of Memphis marketing materials, specifically the marketing and communication department. I found that establishing that you're from the University of Memphis can often lead to talking points and shared contacts. So I might be at a conference, I'll mention that I'm from the University of Memphis, and someone will be like, do you know this person from this department at the University of Memphis? Or they'll talk about a conference that they went to at Memphis decades before. And so the marketing department can also provide you, I believe, with business cards. So Like I have my business card here that I often carry in my pocket when I'm at conferences just to hand out. And then they also have some branding templates that you can include. So if you want to put some standards, some branding stuff in your PowerPoints, they have some stuff there on their website. And so all this information on marketing can be found at memphis.edu/communications. Another resource here at the University of Memphis is the Division of Research and Innovation. The third tab there is the Researchers tab. And so this is their website where they provide a lot of training resources, particularly for grants. They actually have a grant template library for the National Science Foundation. And then they also have research forms. They provide some IRB support. And then some NIH workshops. So I'd recommend heading over to the Division of Research and Innovation. And then if you have any questions about writing grants or IRB or professional development, you can contact them. And their email is very simple. It's just research@memphis.edu. Okay. I just wanted to give a quick word on professional societies and some tips at conferences. Every discipline and department has specific professional societies that are important to be aware of. So for example, for me in graduate school, there were two conferences that I always tried to make it to: the Association of Information Science and Technology, or ASIST, and then ALICE, which stands for the Association for Library and Information Science Education. Both of these societies had conferences each year that I always tried to make it to at least one, sometimes both. I got to go to some really cool places. Like the first conference I went to for ASIST was in Montreal, which was really fun. And I don't know about the graduate program specifically at the University of Memphis, but at Missouri, I was able to get some funding if I had a presentation accepted. And that was the case for poster presentations as well. So poster presentations, certainly, usually it's not too hard to at least put in those presentation proposals. And then those can certainly lead to future opportunities. And just to give you an example, the first, or I think second year I was in my doctoral program, I just did a quick poster presentation that was accepted on usability testing. And an associate professor just came by, he read my poster and decided, I'm interested in doing my own usability study, and wanted to know if I wanted to collaborate. And so we worked on that over the next year, and that collaboration from my poster led to my first journal article ever, in which I got second author. And then several years later, that same faculty member recommended me for an adjunct teaching position to another faculty member that I met at a conference. And then I'm still teaching that class to this day. And so in a way, that poster presentation from 2013 has led to a journal article and a class that I still teach. So that just kind of shows that making a connection through a poster at a conference can lead to opportunities years down the line sometime. And so once at the conference, here are just some pointers on how to network. First, I'd recommend setting a clear goal. This could be meeting potential collaborators for research, sharing your own research, or learning about others' new research, and then planning based on your goals. Plan your schedule according to the goals that you've set. And the goals that you want to meet at the conference. I would recommend taking a look at the schedule ahead of time. Know who's speaking and who's attending in advance. Don't be afraid to read some CVs and browse through some articles of scholars who may have similar interest. You can also make a list of questions that you want to ask those particular researchers. And then if you're looking for a job or collaboration opportunities, make sure you're paying attention and actively listening. And then try to keep up with names. And I'm not good about this, I'll admit. Sometimes I'll meet people, especially after I presented, and I'll forget their name 5 minutes afterward. Try not to do that. Try to keep in mind the names of people and try to remember those and the institutions of the people that you meet. And then also keep your badge visible and try to pay attention to other people's badges. If you can collect cards, that's a good way. Have your own business cards that you can hand out, and then collect business cards as well. And then don't be afraid to follow up with the business cards that you've collected. So if you've had a good conversation, you're interested in someone's research, don't be afraid to send a follow-up email after the conference. That can go a long way to reinforce those connections. And then finally, try to attend some conference social events. You can maybe try to go out to dinner with a group of people. And then when you're at that dinner, try to stay off your phone and try to get involved in the conversations. And so I mentioned this at the beginning. I don't always love social media, but I often say I'm going to cancel my Facebook or I'm going to get off Instagram. But they do have certain uses, especially at conferences, where you can leverage social media and engage with the conference community online by using event hashtags on platforms like X and LinkedIn. You can post updates and you can share experience and insights from the conference. And then it's also really good. You can sometimes, I mentioned I'm not always the best with keeping up with names, but I can often maybe go do a little Facebook, LinkedIn stalking and find the person that I met earlier and remember the names. They'll remind me, oh yeah, that's the person. I see their picture. And so social media can allow you to friend and follow people from a conference and help you connect and make connections for future conferences years down the line. Okay. So to summarize, I've covered several platforms, and I would recommend creating accounts for all of these different platforms, and in some cases, merging them where possible. For example, you can add your ORCID to your ResearchGate account, or you can put your ORCID on your LinkedIn page. Know the professional societies important to your discipline and department, and try to attend those conferences if possible, and prepare to network at those conferences. Finally, with all the platforms out there, it is important to keep your CV up to date, especially if you're going on the job market. And so what I do is I try to specify dates that are dedicated to updating my CV and also updating my network accounts. So for example, my date that I've set this year is December 20th, just because that's the final day of the work before going off on holiday. It's when campus is completely dead. I don't have any meetings. So usually I just take a day or even a half a day or so. I'm going to update my CV and I'm going to update all my accounts to make sure that they're looking good and that they're up to date. So here is a list of the URLs that I've covered: the orcid.org, Google Scholar, ResearchGate.net, academia.edu, LinkedIn.com, and then those are the two Memphis.edu, the Marketing Communication, and the Division of Research and Innovation. So that's those are the URLs for those. And then here's my contact information. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me, as well as my phone number if you want to give me a call. This is the QR code, and I'll take you to a link for a survey to provide feedback, and Bess has added that to the chat as well. And so with that, thank you for attending, and I'll answer any questions that you have, or try to.
Thank you, Kenny. 2 questions came in. The first one is, will the ORCID connect my institutions as soon as I sign in? I'm faculty at one institution as well as a student at the U of M.
I believe I don't know if it's automatic, but you should be able to connect those for your ORCID pretty easily, because I think on the left-hand side, let me go back to it. Sorry, it's all the way back. Here, I think if you just add those email addresses to your account from the one that you're a faculty as well as your student, because that's kind of how mine is, because I was a student at the University of Missouri and then a faculty member at the University of Memphis. And then I was able to just connect those so that it's only under one account.
Does that answer the question? Second question, how are panels put together for conferences? That is, how do you get onto one?
So the panels that I have been on, I had to put in a panel proposal. And so for ASIST, they have a time period. It's basically the same as for presentations or poster. Usually the poster presentations, the date's a little bit afterward, but the panels and the one-shot presentations, they have a date that's a little bit earlier. So for ASIS, it was in April where you put in a proposal for a panel, and you'd also have to list, I believe, the people who would be on that panel. And so, yeah, usually you put in a proposal.
Any other questions? Well, thank everyone for joining us this evening. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.